What's up, people? In this video, Never Tethered, whatever, he's quoting. So I did this video on this like red pill shit. Somebody asked me to do it, and then this guy, he's saying that like I was triggered by what he said, and then he like even went so far as to like quote me on this cognitive dissonance, making fun of the fact that I say like a lot, and then he wants me to do this video on pickup artistry. Maybe you could apply your unique intellectual skill set to debunking that as well. I'd watch it, no doubt. Winky face. Edit, I watched the rest of your video. Thanks for the laugh. Ah, these red pill people, so snide. So anonymously snide. Okay. Yeah. Let's watch this. Might be interesting.
Game is dependent on female sexual dominance. This dominance translates to all areas of male endeavor. It is a stifling, backwards, wasteful expenditure of male vitality. In any area where the practice of it arises from natural conditions and social pressures, you will see the same associative symptoms of the pathology that causes game, which, as I've said already, is a female sexual dominance over men. Simply put, when male excellence is at a standstill and females have some access to some external source of sustenance or advantage over men, you will see game arise, since game at its core is a prolonged game of cutthroat amongst men for access to females. Now, when the state bankrolled female dominance over men in poor urban areas via welfare and other subsidies, the males, since they were essentially strong-armed into equal economic status, were forced to find other ways to differentiate themselves.
Where's my water? Oh my god. All right. Like, what the fuck, dude? Why so complicated? Like, actually, why so complicated? This is... It doesn't need to be so hard. Sustenance, welfare, like, dog, you're going over and talking to her. Trying to, like, get her to, like, be comfortable around you so you can have sex with her. That's game. Fuck all this other shit. Like, what... Why make it so complicated? Like, what... You know, this is like how complicated your explanations need to be so that other men will feel good about not taking any action and going over and talking to girls. Because that's really what I interpret this to be, is basically like, you know, because most people are scared to go talk to new people, right? Like it's very rare that anybody will go introduce themselves to anybody out in public anywhere, right? Who's not like fucking high or drunk or something, and be like, oh, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. Or fucking make some offhand comment, right? Most people are too scared to do that. So like in my mind, I just feel like all of this shit is just, here's why. It's like cope in terms of why you shouldn't have to do it, because it's not fair. It's females win automatically if you try and run game. Like, it's retarded.
To women. And this is when male competition, the driving force of civilization, makes the transition from healthy male versus male competition to oftentimes ultra-violent, economically destructive, poverty-inducing, gynocentric male versus male competition. Now, I remember in the early 90s when you used to hear a lot about the epidemic of black-on-black crime in the areas where game first arose. But I always knew that turned to be inaccurate, not because it wasn't happening, but because the root cause of this violence was never examined. What I mean to say is this. You can take any community of men and women, regardless of race or any other distinctions, and artificially induce male economic poverty, or at the least economic equality across the board. In this case, we saw it happen via the crack epidemic and women's welfare programs. Then, if you give the women even the slightest amount of advantage economically over the men, which is exactly what a welfare check is, you will see the men especially turn against each other, and violence will not be black on black, but male on male. And I challenge anybody to pull up the statistics and see how much male on female violence compromised the total amount of violence during the epidemic of so-called black on black violence. What happened exactly? Women were encouraged to remove the fathers from the household in order to gain access to government welfare. The men were then blamed for the fatherlessness that ensued, and the rest that followed was drugs, poverty, and violent competition for females. In other words, this black-on-black crime wave was nothing more than a massive expenditure of male life and energy in hopes of reestablishing status and welfare access to women after external, artificially induced conditions were implemented, resulting in an economic reset button push on the men. It is fought first through false bravado, hypermasculinity, and posturing, and unfortunately, as this marathon of one-upsmanship approaches a tipping point, the simple appearance of this skewed form of masculinity simply will not suffice. No, there has to be blood, because the women are always...
All right. I mean, what I agree with in that is that the women... I never really thought of this before, but if you financially incentivize women to get rid of their men, which I'm not saying that's necessarily true. I don't think it's quite so one-sided, because like, let's be honest, like, gentlemen, do you really want to like fucking spend the next 18 years of your life raising a kid of some girl you just like randomly fucked? Like, probably not. So it's both sides that might have been incentivized to do it, because if you know that like, okay, if she gets pregnant, she'll just go on welfare, I don't have to fucking worry about it, you might not stick around, you know, or you might feel less guilty about not sticking around. And for women, if you know that if the guy's not there, that you get, I don't know, what is it, $500 a month from the government? I don't know. You might, you know, incentivize him to leave. But like all the other shit, like Here's what I want to know. What does this have to do with going and approaching women and striking up a conversation? Like, really? Like, what does this actually have to do with that, right? Maybe he's talking about like in bad neighborhoods doing that. I don't know. I don't like live in a bad neighborhood. I never really have, now that I think about it. But what is the, like, what are you, what's, I don't get the point. Maybe he'll get to the point.
He's watching. Always, and the slightest challenge from one male to another can escalate since this farce has to be kept up. You see, this is far from a racial issue. It's just what will happen in some form or another when the price of pussy is inflated to a degree that it can be leveraged against men, who will then go about destroying each other, both figuratively and literally, depending on the amount of collective desperation from the population of males in question. This is the essence of game. Males, which resemble each other economically, employing techniques to differentiate themselves for their own selfish needs. It's the study of the inner workings of unhealthy male versus male competition. If this competition is defined as being any competition that doesn't have a net positive result for both the winners and the losers. To test my theory, ask yourself this. If you were to take two men that implement game with equal frequency and talent, exactly equal in all ways, other than the fact that one makes double the amount of money than the other, which one will these females choose every time? I think you know the answer. Game is predatory male-on-male competition.
Of course, dog. Yeah, fine. But that'll never happen. There's no, you're not going to have two exactly same people in exactly the same situation, and one is like, one has more money and the other one doesn't, because no two people are exactly alike. No two situations are exactly alike. So, you know, that's true. You're right. But like, you're right, like in a vacuum, you know what I mean? You're not like right in the real world. As far as game being a predatory male on male fight or something like that, I don't think, no. I'm going to go with no, because like a lot of the times, you know, these women, I'm just thinking, maybe I'm misunderstanding what he's saying, but like if I'm, let's just say, let's take an actual real world example, not like, you know, fucking thought experiment. Let's say I'm outside, I'm outside my room, and I'm just like wandering around. I see a lot of girls by themselves, and I see a lot of girls with other girls. So how is that, if by me going and approaching and talking to them, how is that predatory male on male fucking battle or something? Like how? What's the, where are the other men that I have to battle? I wish it was like that. Oh my God. I wish it could be that easy that I could just like fight some guy, and if I win, I get to like fuck his girl or something, right? That would be so much easier. I just fucking train how to fight and learn how to fight and then go do it that way. That's way easier. It's like way less scary, as strange as that sounds. Yeah, maybe I'm misunderstanding.
Nothing else. Now, I read about an experiment that was conducted on male desirability in regards to the lions of Africa that I've put in a link. It turns out that lions are the only felines that grow manes, and it was believed that a male lion's mane was actually some sort of display of status and virility. So to test this, 4 different stuffed lions were set up in different locations, and hyena sounds were played to attract both male and female lions to the stuffed dummy male lions. And it was found that females had almost an exclusive preference for the dummies with black-colored manes, and that male lions would attack the lighter mane lions, leaving the dark mane lions in peace. Further studies on the health and virility of these darker mane lions also prove them to be the superior specimens of their species in almost all regards, the true alpha males of their species. Now, these dark mane lions are not the feline equivalent of PUAs and those that practice game. No, if the light mane lions were to find a coal mine and started rubbing their manes in it to give the illusion of dark manes, then they would be the PUAs of their species. If these lions then started attacking their still light mane counterparts, they would resemble PUAs even more. Because what PUAs are is, according to their own terminology, a bunch of beta men masquerading as alpha males. They will never be the dark mane lions, only an imitation of one that is clever enough to fool the females they wish to court. And that's why they turn their hatred onto other so-called beta men, because they hate to be reminded of what they actually are. They hate men that stopped caring about female definitions of beta and alpha a long time ago. And make no mistake about it, these terms, beta and alpha, are terms that are defined by the females that PUAs court. They have no control or say over it. Game is, and always has been, female supplication and submission. The PUAs attempt to convince you that after studying what women actually want, as opposed to what they say they want, that game isn't about and solely about giving females what they want, regardless of what they say they want. I'm gonna say...
All right. First of all, those are lions, not human beings, right? The human world is much more complex than like the lion world, and like you put some stuffed lions and played like hyena sounds. Like, that's not, you know, the lions with the black manes are not PUAs. They're actually something else. Like, that's not, you can't like draw that could be interpreted in many ways, I guess, is what I'm saying. And that, like, that interpretation, I don't know, it's a bit of a stretch in my opinion, logically. And again, this just seems to me to be like wildly overcomplicating things to justify people's lack of, I don't know, bravery when it comes to sucking it up and going over and fucking risking rejection to go talk to somebody. Like, you know, you can call it whatever you want. Are you supplicating to a woman if you go over there and approach? Maybe, right? But only the act of approaching is supplicating, right? Everything else after that, you're technically in control, right? You go over, you approach, you've technically given away like a little bit of your power, because you're saying, hi, I want to talk to you. I think you are worth me risking myself to come talk to you, basically. So you're technically putting yourself at a lower position, right? If you want to think of it like that, fine. That's technically true. But everything after that is like in your court, right? You can stay there and fucking just not leave and just keep talking and speak whatever words you want to speak, you know, to kind of like have whatever effect on their mind that you want, and show your positive qualities so that she will like you, I guess. Is that supplicating? I mean, what else are you supposed to do? Like, how else is it supposed to work, I guess? Like, they're not going to come talk to you. You're supposed to just, I guess you can go like pay for prostitutes or something. But I guess what I don't understand here is like, what's the alternative to having game? Is it just like, because what it sounds like to me from this video and the last guy's video is that like, if you have money and you're using that money to like use your, you know, have power in society, then you're like playing into society's hands by like hurting other men. If you have looks, it's kind of the same thing. And if you have game, then you're just a weak little bitch who is like giving women too much power because you went over and tried to talk to her. So like, what's the other option? Are we just supposed to like keep them underground and like bring them above ground to like impregnate them every once in a while? Like, what's the solution here, I guess? You know, maybe, look, I'll be honest with you, learning game and fucking pickup is not, it's not the best option. Well, it's what do they say about democracy? It's the worst form of government except for all the other ones. That's kind of what pickup is. It's the worst way to get girls except for all the other ways. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you want to go like work some job, fucking work yourself to death so you have money and it's easier for you to just like invite a girl to a nice restaurant and hope she likes you. You could do that. But learning game is free, basically. Just walk outside and talk to people. And more than that, I think pickup is I think it can give you a lot, because it'll put you through some very difficult gut checks that will force you to get better, or I don't want to say die, but like you have to get better, because if you don't, the pain of rejection is so strong that you will be rapidly incentivized to get better in a hurry. And like I said, I think this whole video is basically like, you don't have to put yourself through that because it's the system's fault. So don't even try. Just like keep watching my videos, and like I'll keep telling you how it's not actually your fault that you don't have girls.
Say that again. PUAs attempt to convince you that after studying what women actually want, as opposed to what they say they want, that game isn't about and solely about giving females what they want, regardless of what they say they want. What then do I define as healthy male competition exactly? These are competitions that require real, tangible, and applicable talent. Competition that furthers understanding in areas of real importance. Competition that creates wealth. Competition that furthers science. Competition...
Sorry, I just had to think about that for a second. PUAs claim, after studying what women actually want, that you need to give women what they actually want instead of what they say they want. And that is that bad? That's somehow bad. That's, I guess, what he means by supplication. You know, look, if you have a business, right, you can listen to what customers say they want, or you can give them what you think they actually want, right? And if you give them what they actually want and they give you money for it, well, then you just got some money. Are you like supplicating to your customers? Is that bad? I mean, if you want a business and you want to make money, then I don't think so, right? Like, are you never supposed to give a woman what she wants because the inherent act of giving a woman what she wants is bad? Just that in and of itself, right? What if she, like, I don't know, what are you supposed to do? You know, it's like another human being that you're talking to. And what if what she actually wants is beneficial to you in the long run? Because like the whole thing with this red pill stuff is like, women want a man to be dominant. They want a man to be the man. They want a man to fucking take charge and kind of be an asshole, right? That's what she really wants. If that's what you give her, then that's good for you, and it's good for her, and you get what you want. So like, if that's supplication, okay, I guess I'll supplicate, because that's great, happily, you know? All right, anyway.
In which male human athleticism is pushed to higher and higher limits. Once again, we're talking about healthy male competition with a net gain for all those participating in it. When Michael Jordan, who is arguably the best athlete of all time, graced the courts of the NBA, we saw a quality of male basketball players emerge, the likes of which have never been reproduced since. The best of the best. And I don't want to hear any LeBron and Kobe nonsense. These were the best of the best. The Magic Johnsons, the Olajuwons, and the Robinsons. And they existed because Jordan, the best of the best, created such a climate of excellence that all the others were forced to compete that much more, furthering their own excellence in the process. Scientific discovery is derived from healthy male versus male competition. When Niels Bohr and Einstein were battling it out for the acceptance of quantum mechanics, the fervor in which these two heavyweights were taking shots at each other is the stuff of legend, but what differentiates this form of competition between that of game is that there exists an end result. Something is produced. Society is rewarded with something as a result of this conflict. Our understanding of science was furthered, but in game, the only thing produced was a sex act. Nothing of importance other than a possible pregnancy for the vultures in child support courts to live off of. When a civilization is in decline, you will see the practice of game exponentially rise, since male ambition and talent is funneled away from avenues of productivity and is instead squandered on an animalistic mating ritual that is typical of the female-based herd breeding model. What game does is it acknowledges female competition for alpha males. But what is an alpha male? Let me tell you right off the bat that no matter what PUAs or the proponents of game will tell you, an alpha male is in a pure sense dictated and defined by the general consensus of women in regards to what makes a man sexually attractive. Nothing else. An alpha male, according to the principles of game, is any man that is sexually attractive to large amounts of women. That is the only requirement according to game literature.
An alpha male is a male that is sexually attractive to large amounts of women. Not only. That's not what an alpha male is only. An alpha male, first of all, I think being an alpha male is situational, number one, right? You don't have like nobody's going to be an alpha male in every single situation, right? You're going to have more confidence in some situations than you will in others, right? So that's number one. So that in and of itself means that what defines an alpha male is flexible. It's not something static that like is like, exists in a vacuum. You can be an alpha male on the fucking basketball court, right? Like Michael Jordan, but you go to some other situation, you're got to like fly a jet or something. You're not an alpha male because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You know what I mean? So that's number one. Number two, what is defined as sexually attractive, I think is also flexible. And I think women have a much more malleable definition of what makes somebody sexually attractive. Of course, you will have like the conventional things like height, how muscular you are. I don't want to say how much money you have, but like how much status you have, I guess. But the thing with game, the thing that I think is beautiful about game is that you have a lot of kind of opportunity to overcome those things if you have good game, right? Like for example, if you're not conventionally attractive, right, and you go into a situation where a lot of people are, but you dominate the room and you run the show and you make all of the traditionally attractive like alpha males in that room put their tail between their legs and act like little bitches, then you're going to be the most attractive guy in that room to the women, I think, right? And in my opinion, like, I don't know, I have so much respect for these PUAs, like career PUAs. Like, how can you not? They're out there every single day. These guys are not conventionally attractive. Most of them are under 6 feet tall. Not a single one like has any sort of like muscles to fucking speak of. No offense, guys. And they're just like ex-nerds and they crush it with girls, right? You can maybe think they don't. I don't know. I don't think it's possible to like maintain a career that spans so many years and fake it for so long. It's just not, I just don't think that's possible. I think anybody who says that, again, it just comes back to this whole idea of like, well, actually it's the system's fault. Those guys are fake anyway. It's like just another excuse as to why you shouldn't try, in my opinion.
Trust me, they'll try to tell you otherwise, but in a pure sense, it is their definition of the term. And so what women define or classify as an alpha male is what they attempt to emulate. Because game is reactionary. It is a reflection of and a reaction to female power. And those that practice it will often mask this capitulation by insinuating that game is an attempt at understanding and thus eventually controlling female psychology. And that statement certainly has a degree of truth to it, but what they hide is the end game of this game. The question that needs to be asked is whether or not female psychology is worth scrutiny and whether or not there are suitable rewards to be garnered in controlling it. What are men as a collective getting out of it? The juice isn't worth the squeeze. Men figured this out a long time ago and set their sights on decoding and understanding the forces of nature, and civilization as we know it was the payoff. Any culture, country, or nation in which the main area of male expertise is female courtship will crumble in on itself. Implosion is the only possible fate awaiting those that put too much emphasis on the female psyche. Game is a symptom of an addiction to the allure of women. This allure is biological. Men are predisposed to like women, thus they're...
All right. He's very eloquent, obviously a very intelligent guy, but like game is like now all of a sudden the most important thing in society, and that therefore like society is crumbling. No, I don't think so. I think most people are not interested in game at all. Most people like this, the red pill stuff is a much more attractive ideology than game, for sure. Like and anything that says essentially it's not your fault, it's the system's fault, you never had a chance, let's all rebel and be angry about it on the internet, that's going to be much more attractive than an ideology that says it's within your control, it's going to be hard, you're going to have to try very hard, it might be years until you get really good at it. that's not as attractive. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to do that. It's the same thing with fitness. Nobody wants to, like, everybody's looking for the quick fix, right? Everyone wants to hear, oh, it's the government's fault that you're fat. You know, it's all these food companies' reason, you know, it's because of the food companies that you're fat. It's the magazine's fault, right? It's like, you didn't know, and let's be mad about it now, or let's say that it's not our fault, as opposed to just fucking shutting up about it and actually going to the gym and making the right choices, which will lead to a good result. It's just going to take some time and some work. Nobody wants to, like, hear that. And again, at the end of the day, bro, let's fucking simplify this, please. At the end of the day, like, forget about all this. Like, just stop. Just forget, right? Like, why am I even engaging this in, like, a review? Just 'cause somebody asked me. I'm such a little bitch. At the end of the day, okay, you see a girl over there in the coffee shop. You go to Starbucks, right? You want to get a cup of coffee. And there's some girl in there. She's got her Ugg boots, her yoga pants, and her, like, crop top sweater. You look at her. She looks at you. She, like, does a little hair flip, whatever. And you're like, she's cute. I know she wants me to talk to her. I should say something. And then you bitch out, right? That's what it comes down to. Okay, you either bitch out or you go talk to her, right? 9 billion times out of 10 billion, nobody does anything, right? You're not going to do anything. It's like, oh, there's people around. You start thinking of reasons why. You're like, oh, there's people here. You know, some, like, anonymous red pill guy on the internet said, like, it's a bitch move. I go talk to her. So you don't do it, right? But I believe that the correct move is to go talk to her. I'm not saying I do. I rarely do. Like, let's be honest. I don't do that. I wish I did. But that's the right move, because that's facing your fear. And I think that's one of the most valuable things that you can do in life, is face your fear. Because it's not like I've never done that. I've approached girls before, like cold approaches like that. I've done a lot. But it's something that, like, and when you do it, you realize it's not so scary, right? You do it, and, like, even if it goes badly, even if she's like you say something, she's like, okay, or, like, ignores you completely or something, you're like, oh, that's it? I'm still alive. That wasn't such a big deal. And then you're kind of over it, right? But doing that first one, it's like, oh, it's so hard, because you're in your head. You know, you're like, there's people here. What are they going to think of me? So it requires a little bit of momentum to, like, get that going. It has to be like a lifestyle choice. It can't, I guess it can be the type of thing where you just kind of do it casually sometimes if you feel like it. But in my opinion, it requires desensitization, and it requires it to be a part of your lifestyle for an extended period of time to achieve that level of desensitization. But like I said, at the end of the day, dog, why are you making it so difficult? Like Michael Jordan, black on black crime. Like, dude, you see a girl, you want to talk to her, fucking go talk to her. Like, really, actually, that's all it is. Done. Like, stop making it so complicated.
There can be either a frenetic mad dash to bask in the allure of women, or an attempt for men to escape their biology, and in this regard, females are way ahead of us. Any legitimate discussion from men in terms of exploring ways of surmounting and escaping their biological mandate and compulsions is deemed by PUAs and feminists alike as something to be shamed and ridiculed. Beta behavior, if we were using PUA syntax. Men going their own way is the first attempt at such a thing, but somewhere, someday, some beta scientist will break the female monopoly on breeding. That's a matter of course, not if, but when. This will be the point in which equality between the genders will be achieved. This is the point in which men will surpass their last and final female dependency. But as of now, the majority of men are quite content to surrender to their biological dependencies. And if you look at the behavior of women, however, you see that they have a consistent, sustained record of demanding from society that they not be considered slaves to their biology. We see over and over how fervently females fight being controlled by their biology through sperm banks, through restricting the possibility of a father to conduct a paternity test, through birth control, through abortion for their convenience. Women fight to eliminate the negative consequences of their biological compulsions, and men fight amongst themselves to convince women to let them indulge in theirs as much as possible. The PUAs are simply a band of manginas that finally learn how to get laid, and I say this with quite a bit of skepticism since I'm deeply suspicious of just how much these people actually are getting laid. But pay attention to their behavior and you'll see it yourself. They do what they believe women like because they think it will get them laid, just like manginas and white knights and male feminists who bash other men thinking it will get them laid. The only difference is that they may have actually gotten laid in the process. They still denigrate other men in hopes of appearing to be better to the women that they are dependent on. The term beta male is the equivalent of being called a misogynist by a male feminist. It's a separative term designed to show women who has what they want and who doesn't. Such a group of people, and this is my opinion, I'm not speaking for anybody else, but the fact that these group of men, a bunch of vagina dependents, have no business interjecting themselves into men's issues of actual importance. And I don't understand why these people aren't recognized as the clowns that they are. I want to make it clear for everyone listening the exact contribution to male freedom that PUAs have made. That being absolute zero. Nothing at all. You want to get laid as often as possible, then that's your business. But when PUAs claim that they're doing something for male freedom, specifically when they've created an entire syntax dedicated to bashing men that don't get laid as much as they supposedly...
I don't know. An entire syntax for bashing men that don't get laid? Look, here's the thing with pickup, okay? Like I said, let's simplify this, you know, Mr. like social commentary over here. Like, let's make it simple, okay? Stop the like, okay, he's a smart guy. He's very smart. He's like very eloquent. Sounds like this paper that he wrote is very well put together. It's intelligent, right? But like I said, let's simplify. Okay, let's talk in literal terms and let's simplify it. Okay. Pickup is the practice of talking to women who you don't know, like cold approach pickup, right? You're talking to women that you don't know in an attempt to eventually like either have sex with them or integrate them into your life in some way, whether it's as a friend or, you know, whatever, anything, I guess, in between that, like, you know what I mean? Let's just say have sex with them, okay? Approaching women that you don't know with the eventual goal of having sex with them. Now, the reason that this is hard for people to do is because it's scary to go talk to somebody, especially when you have this, like, let's call it ulterior motive in the back of your mind, and you're like, oh no, I have to do this right, I have to say this right. And that's why people don't want to do it, because they don't like that fear. So it's much easier, it's like I said, it's much more attractive to say, oh, the whole process is wrong, and those guys have no credibility, and they haven't done anything for men anyway, and my, like, you know, dissertation that I wrote on fucking, you know, Albert Einstein and like healthy male competition, we should just, like, you know, see who can run the like 100-meter dash fastest, and then whoever wins gets to like have sex with the female or something. Like, no, man, like this is the world that you live in, you know? If you want to have sex with a girl, it's a two-way street. She has to also say yes, you know? And in order for her to say yes, she needs to see you as a guy who is worthy of having sex with her. So you have to prove yourself to her, right? Because, like, women don't have to prove themselves to us most of the time. Like, you know, as long as they pass like a basic like physical attraction test, we're pretty much ready to go. But it's not like that with women. Just because biologically, like, we're more ready to go all the time, and they're not. They need a little bit, you know, they need to like be more attractive, I guess. So they're the sellers, we're the buyers. Like, oh wait, no, they're the buyers, we're the sellers. So if you don't want to work on your sales skills because fucking reminds you of welfare and like black on black crime, okay, like, you'll get a lot of support on the internet from like anonymous people saying that you're right and it's not fair. But meanwhile, there's going to be people out there who are out there facing their fears and talking to strangers and, you know, doing their thing. So I don't know. I like, again, like I said, at the end of the day, if like, why does pickup appeal to me, right? Because I like the idea of getting over my fear of talking to girls who I can see are obviously attracted to me and want me to come talk to them. Bottom line, is that supplicating? Am I like hurting the men's rights movement by like approaching women at fucking Starbucks? Maybe, like, but I don't really care. Am I fucking holding back society? Like, go fuck yourself. Like, I'm not gonna like hamstring myself and not go talk to that girl because it hurts your feelings, like anonymous fucking PhD on the internet. It's just retarded to me. But again, like I said, that desire to face your fears does not appeal to everybody. It's much easier to just be angry on the internet. Okay, so probably not the rebuttal that Never Tethered was looking for, but hopefully you got a nice laugh out of this video too. You're welcome to share it with your red pill buddies and be like, look at this PUA, he's such a, what do you call it now? He's on the plantation. Okay, yeah, cool. So thank you for giving me an idea for a video. Hope that was helpful for you. If you have any other recommendations for videos that you would like me to do, let me know. Leave me a comment. Peace.